Okay. Welcome you guys to my channel. My name is Oraine Simpson and I'm here to talk to you about several things really. Mostly about myself. I want to really bring awareness to health issues and things affecting people in Jamaica and worldwide, but things affecting me. I want to really give an insight into the life of uh it's kind of weird talking to the phone. It's hard to really know what to say. So I'll get to it shortly, but yeah, I am 24 years old. I'll be 25 soon, and I have end stage renal disease. So that's mainly what I want to talk about. I want to bring awareness to end stage renal disease. Of course, what are the effects? How does it affect your life? And if it's possible to live a healthy and normal life while being diagnosed or while facing. It's kind of hard to talk because this it gets me really emotional, and so let's go. End stage renal disease is where the you have little to no kidney functionality. So basically, my kidneys stopped working, and it happened in a weird kind of way because I never went through uh onset renal failure or early stages of renal disease. I actually moved from stage 1 basically, which is normal functions, to stage 5, which is patients or persons who need dialysis to stay alive based on all the other symptoms that comes with having no or so little kidney function. Kidney function was actually the starting of all my other problems, but I will have to get into that in another video, and not necessarily another video, but videos, because there's a lot of stuff. Not too recently, I actually did an heart surgery based on the fact that I had advanced or pericarditis, so advanced that I did not have an heartbeat. So they had to strip off the pericardium to really stop it from contracting on my heart. So I will get into that. Yeah, I did a full bypass, sternotomy, and a pericardiectomy, yes. But that's for later. I actually did several surgeries as well. I did not only that, I did a patella tendon repair. That in itself is a that's the worst pain that anyone could ever feel. I think so, because my tendon actually ripped from the bone, and that was proven in an ultrasound. My bone was intact; it was fine, but I couldn't walk. There was advanced swelling, and they had to repair it. They had to sew back the tendon onto the bone, and that is completely in no relation to me having end stage renal disease or heart disease or uh, uh, a swollen liver or pleural effusion, which is fluid in the lungs. So practically all my major organs have been affected, and affected in the sense that it all started with kidney disease or renal failure. I'm kind of strained based on the fact that I'm not reading from anything, or I'm trying to really put this into perspective as to what's really happening, where am I at, what is the purpose of the video. The real purpose is to bring awareness to people and to shed light into uh illness on a whole, and how illness leads to depression, leads to anxiety, or how are other people coping, what are their coping mechanisms, or um what are their support groups, how do you manage all of this. So I will have to get into that, as I said, in a later video or several other videos. So I will keep posting. I will start this channel, as I mentioned, and continue to work on this channel. But basically for this video, we just want to go into introductionary stages, whereas tell you about the starting, the backstory. So I actually went to Clarendon College. So I'm from Clarendon, and I did well. I did exceptionally well in my 6C, and at that time I was feeling some pain. Really remember what the injection was. Some allergy injection for uh, that. It was at the Chapelton Hospital. I think it's a clinic now, or it's non-existent. So basically, the healthcare system would have failed me in that regards, or something happened. And so next, okay, so I was still seeing swelling extreme swelling, and the next thing is that I couldn't walk for long distances. I was extremely tired. I was vomiting. I was having pain. So I went again to the hospital thinking that, hey, something is not right. This is no allergy. Then I saw a different doctor because, as you know, the public system, a different doctor every day. So I I saw a different doctor who suggested that I should do a blood test, which should have been done on the first time I went, before going back home for weeks. The blood test was unbelievable. It was like I wasn't a human or I wasn't living, because stuff that should be 10 or ranges of, on a scale like, on a normal scale should be 10, was like 1,000. Creatinine, bun, the amount of protein, all of that was on off the charts. It wasn't natural for a human. And that's when the blood test came back. So after I went, and it was for the consult, based on to read the actual results. The doctor looked at my mother and he said, "Mother, are you ready? Are you ready for this?" She said, "What?" And she would smile. I remember that. He said, "Your son may be going through renal failure, and this is gonna be a long, uh, expensive process." Little did I know that he actually meant every word. Like, it, until today's date, which is now is 2021, from 2014, it has gotten no better. It has only progressed worse. However, back to that stage, let us not stray. That was, I was immediately admitted because the swelling, the short of breath, the tiredness, heart racing, everything, and the blood test that proved that everything was out of sync. I was immediately admitted, and the first thing, or the first pain, extreme pain that I was felt, was to actually insert a UCAT, which is I think it's called urinary catheter. It was something that they would put into your genital. Persons will know what that is. At around, what age was that? Just left high school, 17, 16. Imagine that. That's a thing that they put into all guys who needs to measure their urine. But that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to measure my urine. And just to tell you now, I haven't peed since that day. That was 2000 and 14. Now it's 2021. That's so many years. I I stopped getting the feeling like I want to use a bathroom. But based on the fact that I go to dialysis, it kind of I don't know how to explain, but I don't get the feeling. So uh I was then transferred, the same, I think it was the same day, to KPH, where they did their further test and all that to confirm, yes, it's end stage renal disease. I still just a little child, not knowing what that means or what that is, what's gonna happen. Am I gonna be in here for long? I spent around 2 months there. I spent my birthday, because it was like the end of the year, and my birthday was December. So the rest of the I spent the rest of my year in the hospital. However, all right. So after being there, I did what they call peritoneal dialysis, where they made a small incision in my lower abdomen to insert a tube that they will send like some liquid into my I think it was to flush the kidneys. Yeah, and that was so painful. I think that's how a pregnant lady feels. You're so bloated, like your belly gets so stiff, and then after a while they will release it. I actually had an infection from that because it was being done in a ward situation, like an open ward. So a doctor was saying that they're gonna do an open belly or open belly surgery to remove the infection or to remove the ear because my belly was really swollen. My aunt came and she prayed and all of that until uh, the surgery was put off. It was not needed anymore because my belly had reduced. So thank you for that. And I was there for some weeks doing that because they really didn't know how far along or how advanced my renal failure was. So they were trying that as a mean of fixing the problem to see if they could flush the kidneys, because I haven't really told you what caused the renal failure because they're not conclusive. My file said a rapidly progressive glomerular nephritis based on a flu. So they're stating that I had a flu, and that flu was so severe that it actually failed both my kidneys, and it failed in an instant from stage 1 to stage 5 based on misdiagnosis for allergies or food poisoning from the doctor. So I stayed too long in regards to getting, I think, peritoneal dialysis or kidney function medicine. So after doing that peritoneal for some weeks at Kingston Public Hospital, it wasn't helping, and the consultant there at KPH told, I was overhearing them telling the doctor that this boy is gonna die if something is not done soon, because my case was worsening. I was so swollen, I barely could move. I was vomiting up everything. I couldn't keep down anything. I was out. I was at my wit's end. So they actually got me onto KPH's renal unit as an emergency. So I think it was November the 25th. They actually put in a subclavian catheter, which is a catheter to my neck. That was a painful experience, and it was actually a foreign object, and foreign objects aren't supposed to stay inside of you, but that's further down where I'll tell you about the infections and them suturing it to your skin. That is super painful. But I got the catheter at KPH as well, and I was introduced first to my first session of dialysis. It was strange, really. It was a weird feeling. It wasn't really painful, as in the actual process. The catheter being sutured to my skin at my neck, and also being inside my subclavian. That is a painful procedure and an experience. But dialysis was quite fine, really. I actually felt a little bit better based on the fact that I couldn't breathe. I was sitting up because it felt like I was drowning, literally. But afterwards, I started doing dialysis more frequently at KPH again, until I actually got onto their list, based on the fact that I was really young, promising, filled with potential, that possible would have died. really, because I wouldn't be able to afford dialysis privately because it is super expensive, as you know, and you need three treatments per week. But in Jamaica, because of economic situations, we only get two, and that basically keeps you alive. So that's basically the beginning of everything, really, from getting sick to starting dialysis. And after you start dialysis, that's where everything gets gets even harder, I guess, because the same machine that's keeping you alive is actually killing you, basically. I will explain further in more videos. I don't want this video to be too long because I will have to tell you about heart surgery and all the other issues with basically living with end-stage renal disease. So I'll just stop here and I'll continue. I'll continue soon. So I want you to like this video. I want you to share the video, of course. I want you to comment also, and we can talk about it. I will post again soon. Stay safe and always protect your health.
Peace, love, yes.